Hello, hello, and welcome to my Sunday thought, this time a day early on Saturday because I have a little bit of time and I want to remind you about a big event that I'm doing tomorrow, which is every Sunday at 5:45. I will be talking with Kate Copstick. And if you don't know who Kate Capstick is, you need to learn who she is. Magnificent reviewer, wonderful social commentator, intelligent, cognizant, uh, wonderful human being. And we are going to be discussing gender issues, Brexit, and age issues. And we're going to be doing it on Instagram. And my Instagram is Lynn Ruth Miller. That's it, Lynn Ruth Miller. And you will see that we will go live at 5:45 at London time. And the title of the show is called Old Bitches Talking Shit, which we will be doing for that hour. So I wanted to do this post in advance of that. But I also want to talk to you about a wonderful saying. It says that the art of compromise is making the other person think that they got more of the pie than you did. And that is an art that I mastered when I was 10 years old. And I want to tell you about that just to amuse you during this terrible lockdown that we're all in London. When I was 10 years old, my best friend was Gwendolyn Turner. I loved her, and we used to go to movies together. Now, I want to tell you about movies in the, oh my God, it was 1943. Movies were like. You would go to the Lowe's Valentine in Toledo, Ohio, or the Paramount Theater, and you would buy one ticket, and you could sit all afternoon and watch the newsreel, the feature, and then the second feature. And you could sit there if you wanted to and watch the whole thing all over again. And Gwendolyn Turner and I used to take the streetcar, cost us a penny each, and we would go to the Lowe's Valentine or to the Paramount, and we would sit there and we would watch two movies and pretty much the beginning of the first one again if we liked it. And then we would stop and have an ice cream soda, which you used to get at a pharmacy, at a drugstore, and it was sparkly water and ice cream and syrup of some kind. Of course, we loved chocolate sodas, or a chocolate milkshake, which was unbelievably good. You people don't know what you're missing. And then we would take the bus and go home. And our mothers would have had a cheap babysitter for the entire Saturday afternoon when they could go have their hair done, they could party, and they could go cheat on their husbands. And Gwendolyn and I were safe in the movie theater, and we always held hands. One day, during this 10th year, my sister, who was 2 years old and whom I did not like, my mother had decided that rather than have me out of the house, it would be a good idea to get Marcia D out of the house as well. So I would have to be older than 10. Marcia had to be 3, so I would be 11. Because Marcia was 3, she could walk and she could make her needs known, which she used to do by throwing up. She was a very invasive and very determined child. So on this particular Saturday, my mother said, you can't go to the movies unless you take your sister. And I said, I want to take her. I want to go with Gwendolyn and hold Gwendolyn's hand. And Mother said, I'm not giving you any money for the movie, which, by the way, was a quarter, 25 cents, unless you take Marcia D. And Marcia D was all excited. Yes, she wanted to go. And my mother dressed her up. Marcia D was absolutely the cutest baby you have ever seen. She had a vile temper, and she had a disgusting personality, but she had, without doubt, the cutest looks you've ever seen. You could have just eaten her up. She had black curly hair, and she was very, very fat, and rosy cheeks. Didn't smile very much, but who needed it when you had such a beautiful face? And Gwendolyn Turner and I were very skinny and very pallid looking. And as I recall now, 11 years old, I wore orthopedic Oxfords, and I don't think I had the braces on the teeth yet, but I was absolutely the homeliest thing you ever saw, and Gwendolyn Turner was not much better. So we took our little beauty queen, and we took her, and my mother gave us a quarter for Marcia D and a quarter for me. That's 25 cents and 25 cents, and 25 cents for the treat afterwards. And Gwendolyn and I took Marcia by the hand and we went to the Lowe's Valentine Theater and we sat through two movies. She wiggled around and she didn't shut up, but we just ignored her because we loved the movies. And because she was sitting in the middle, we couldn't hold hands. So we felt very frustrated because I think that if you can call that love, I think that that's what I felt for Gwendolyn Turner. And after the movie, we said to Marcia, we took Marcia to the bathroom, of course, and then we said to Marcia, now we're going to get an ice cream soda. And Marcia said, well, that's great. But my mother only gave me enough money for one soda, and Gwendolyn Turner's mother didn't give her any money at all. So I said to Gwendolyn, it's okay, we'll share it. We'll get 3 straws, and we'll put Marcia D in the middle, and we will each drink. We'll each have a straw, and we'll just drink. And knowing Marcia D, who loved food, we better drink really fast because she is going to be wanting that soda. And Gwendolyn said, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. So we went to the pharmacy, and in those days you sat at a counter and you watched the man make this beautiful ice cream soda, which was very tall. And we sat Marcia up. She actually had a stand to be able to reach the straw, but she was only 3. And we leaned and we both tried to get to I paid my quarter and my 25 cents, and we both tried to get to our straws. But because Marcia was in the middle, our heads kept hitting and we couldn't get to the straw. And Marcia, in the meantime, was just sucking like crazy. And by the time we managed to figure out how to go, you go on one side and I'll go on the other, my sister had finished the ice cream soda. And that is pretty much the story of how my sister and I got along, because my sister pretty much finished the ice cream soda and finished everything before I got my chance. But that was the illustration of compromise. And since that day, I have always learned that compromise is not a good idea. Just grab what you want and run with this. I do want to remind you, and that's a very short but very poignant thought for Sunday, which is tomorrow. I also want to remind you that my book is selling, and I would like you to be one of the ones to buy it. It has now, I think, 15 positive reviews. Can you believe it? And there's one that isn't positive, but whoever it was didn't have the courage to leave their name and only gave me 4 stars instead of 5. It probably was my sister. I have, who always managed to get in her 2 cents, whether I wanted her to or not. But this is called Getting the Last Laugh. Getting the Last Laugh, and be sure that you look for my face and the dog, the Irish dog whose name is Fuji, on the cover, and enjoy the book. And once again, I'm going to remind you that every Sunday at 5:45, Kate Copstick, who is the best thing that's happened to the world since sliced bread, and me, who is still trying to find a way to compromise, we'll be discussing issues, many, many issues, but this week it's going to be ageism and gender issues and Brexit. Well, thank you so much for joining me for my thought on Sunday, even though it's a day early for a change.